Ngozi found the letter on a Tuesday morning, folded inside her husband's old briefcase, the one he never used anymore. Her hands were shaking before she even finished reading the first line. If you've ever discovered something about someone you love that changed everything you thought you knew about them, stay with me till the end of this story, because Ngozi's choice will make you ask yourself what you would have done in her place. And if stories like this move you, subscribe to this channel, because we tell them every single week. Ngozi was 44 years old, living in a quiet estate in Magodo, Lagos. She had been married to Chidi for 19 years. To everyone who knew them, they were the perfect couple. Chidi owned a small logistics company. Ngozi taught economics at a secondary school nearby. They had 2 children, Tobena and Chiamaka, both in university now, both proud of the home their parents had built. But that letter changed everything. It was from a woman named Blessing, written 8 years ago. In it, Blessing thanked Chidi for his help, for the money he had sent, for standing by her during what she called our difficult season. At the bottom, she mentioned a name Ngozi had never heard before. A child, a son, Emeka, born the same year Ngozi had suffered her second miscarriage, the year she cried herself to sleep for months while Chidi held her and whispered that everything would be fine. Ngozi sat on the edge of her bed for almost an hour, the letter trembling in her fingers. She thought about confronting him right there. She thought about packing her things. She thought about calling her sister in Enugu and telling her everything. Instead, she folded the letter back the way she found it and placed it exactly where it had been. That evening, when Chidi came home, tired from a long day of chasing overdue payments from clients, Ngozi served his food like she always did. She asked about his day. She laughed at his joke about a driver who got lost in Ajah for 3 hours. Nobody watching them would have known anything was wrong. Later that night, lying beside him in the dark, she finally asked, calmly, "Chidi, who is Emeka?" The silence that followed felt longer than the 19 years they had been married. Chidi eventually told her everything. How, during the darkest year of their marriage, when Ngozi was consumed by grief and barely spoke to him, he had made a mistake with a woman he worked with. How Blessing had got him pregnant. How he had chosen, instead of running from his responsibility, to quietly support the child from a distance, sending money every month, watching from afar as his son grew up in Ojota, never once telling Ngozi. "I was afraid," said Chidi, his voice breaking. "I was afraid of losing you. I was afraid of losing everything we built." Ngozi didn't cry that night. She simply asked one question. "Chidi, does he know about me? Does he know he has a father who is ashamed of him?" Chidi had no answer. In the weeks that followed, Ngozi carried a weight no one around her could see. Her colleagues at school still saw the composed woman who explained supply and demand with a gentle smile. Her children still called her every Sunday, unaware that her mother's world had quietly cracked down the middle. Her friends still admired her marriage, still asked her for advice on how to keep a home together. And Ngozi kept the secret. Not for Chidi's sake anymore, but because she thought of Tobena and Chiamaka, about to start their own lives, still needing a stable home to return to during holidays. She thought about her aging mother, who always said Ngozi's marriage was proof that patience pays. She thought about a boy named Emeka, 8 years old, somewhere in Ojota, who had never asked to be born into secrecy. So, Ngozi made her choice. She told no one. She stayed. But something inside her closed that year, quietly, like a door shutting without a sound. She still smiled, she still cooked, she still attended parent meetings and church programs, but the woman who used to laugh freely, who used to dance a little while ironing clothes, slowly disappeared. In her place stood a woman who had decided that peace, even a borrowed peace, was worth protecting. 3 years later, Chidi began sending money for Emeka's school fees openly. He introduced the boy, quietly, to Tobena and Chiamaka as someone we are helping. Only Ngozi knew the full truth, and she carried it the way she carried everything else in that home, silently, faithfully, without complaint. People still call Ngozi's marriage a success story. They see 19 years now, 22, and they see 2 grown children who turned out well. They don't see the letter she reads sometimes, late at night, when the house is quiet and Chidi is asleep. They don't see the version of Ngozi that existed before that Tuesday morning, the one who laughed without thinking twice. Some secrets are kept to protect a family. Some are kept to protect a person's pride. And sometimes a woman carries a secret simply because she has decided that her own happiness is a fair price to pay for everyone else's. Ngozi never told anyone, but if you ever wonder why some women seem to smile with tired eyes, now you know there might be a story behind it, one they choose to carry alone. If this story touched you, drop a comment telling us what you would have done in Ngozi's place. And don't forget to subscribe, because next week we bring you another story that will stay with you long after it ends.